Every man stays when he feels two invisible bonds. You can't touch them, you can't see them, but they are stronger than any promise, any words, or any attraction. These bonds are not about beauty, not about how much you give, and not even about how long you've been with him. They live in the quiet spaces between you and him, in the way he feels when he's around you, in the sense of peace and belonging that he can't explain. The truth is, men don't stay because of pressure, rules, or ultimatums. They stay because something deep inside their emotional world whispers, "This woman is home." And once a man feels that, leaving becomes almost impossible. But most women never realize how these invisible bonds are formed. They think it's about giving more, texting first, being nice, or being always available. They think love is built through effort. But men don't stay because of effort. They stay because of connection. And this connection is not logical. It's emotional. It's instinctive. It's that mysterious pull he can't resist even if he doesn't understand it. Have you ever wondered why some men stay loyal to a woman even when things get difficult, while others run the moment things stop being perfect? It's not luck. It's not about finding a good guy. It's because those men felt something inside that anchored them to her, something beyond attraction, something beyond comfort. These two invisible bonds work in silence. They go straight into a man's subconscious, changing how he sees you, how he values you, and how safe he feels with you. And once he feels them, his mind links you to a rare feeling, the kind of emotional security he doesn't even know he's looking for. When a man feels those two bonds, he starts to invest emotionally. He stops seeing you as temporary. He stops comparing you to others. His mind stops scanning for better options, because suddenly you've become part of his emotional world, not just his daily life. But here's the irony. Most women destroy those bonds without even knowing, not because they don't love him, but because they try to connect using the wrong language, a logical one. They try to convince, explain, argue, or prove their value. But a man doesn't stay when you explain. He stays when he feels. A man can forget your words, your gestures, even your promises. But he will never forget how you made him feel. Those feelings are stored deep in his emotional memory, in a part of his brain that doesn't speak the language of logic. That's why some men can't explain why they can't stop thinking about a certain woman. They just know she made them feel something they can't find anywhere else. So if you've ever asked yourself, what makes a man truly stay? The answer is not found in what you do, but in what you make him feel. Because when these two invisible bonds are present, his mind stops seeing love as a choice, and starts seeing you as a necessity. And once that happens, everything changes. His behavior changes. His priorities shift. His energy becomes consistent. He starts showing up not because you asked, but because he wants to. These two invisible bonds decide whether he stays loyal, committed, and emotionally attached, or whether he quietly drifts away. In the next part, I'll show you how they are formed, how they work in his subconscious, and why, once they're there, they're almost impossible to break. But first, you need to understand something crucial. Men are not as emotionally cold as they appear. They are just wired differently. And once you understand that wiring, you'll know exactly why some women are unforgettable, while others fade away. A few months ago, a woman named Sarah told me something that perfectly explains this idea. She had been dating a man named Daniel for a little over a year. At first, everything was perfect. Long conversations, late-night calls, weekend trips. She thought they were building something solid. But one day, almost out of nowhere, she started to feel him pulling away. He wasn't cold or cruel. He was just distant. The texts became shorter, the calls less frequent. The energy that once felt alive started to fade. Sarah panicked. She thought she had done something wrong, so she tried harder. She texted more, planned surprises, became more affectionate, more available, more forgiving. But the more she gave, the more disconnected he seemed. One night, after he canceled their plans for the third time in a row, she asked, "What happened? Did I do something wrong?" And he replied, "No, it's not you. I just don't feel the same anymore." Those words hit her like a storm. She couldn't understand. How could someone go from being deeply in love to being indifferent? She spent weeks overthinking every detail. She replayed every conversation, every text, every moment, searching for the exact point where things changed. But what she didn't know was that his feelings hadn't disappeared. They had simply never been anchored. Daniel liked her. He respected her. But he never felt those two invisible bonds that make a man stay. The ones that make his heart recognize you as safe but also fascinating, familiar yet unpredictable. Fast forward 3 months later, Sarah ran into him at a cafe. He was with another woman. And the strangest thing happened. When she looked at them, she could see the difference. The way he looked at that woman was not the same. There was something softer in his eyes, something deeper. It wasn't about physical attraction. It was about emotional presence. He was there, truly there. What changed? What did that other woman do that she didn't? The truth was simple but powerful. That new woman didn't chase connection. She created space for it. She wasn't trying to prove her value. She wasn't trying to fill every silence. She wasn't afraid to step back and let him come closer. And that's exactly when he started to feel those invisible bonds forming, without even realizing it. Because that's how men work emotionally. They don't connect when they're overwhelmed with attention. They connect when they feel free to choose you over and over again without pressure. Sarah's mistake wasn't loving too much. It was loving in a way that suffocated the natural process of bonding. She was always available, always trying to reassure him, always afraid to lose him. But in doing that, she accidentally took away the space where emotional desire grows. Here's what's fascinating. When a man starts to feel those invisible bonds, he doesn't even think, "I'm getting attached." He just starts to behave differently. He becomes more protective. He becomes curious about your emotions. He wants to make you feel safe, because subconsciously you make him feel safe too. That's the magic that Sarah missed, and what the other woman unknowingly activated. One bond makes him feel emotionally safe with you, like he can relax his armor. The other bond makes him feel emotionally alive, like you awaken something rare in him. Every man stays when these two invisible bonds exist together. Without them, no amount of effort will keep him. With them, even distance, time, or conflict can't destroy what you have. Sarah learned this the hard way, but once she understood it, she changed everything. She stopped trying to control, stopped over-explaining, stopped giving energy that wasn't being matched. Instead, she focused on herself, on her energy, her boundaries, her peace. And something unexpected happened. Daniel came back, not because she begged, not because she convinced him, but because, for the first time, he felt those two bonds beginning to form. He couldn't explain it, he just felt drawn back to her as if something invisible was pulling him home. That's when she understood the truth that every woman needs to know. Men don't fall in love because of what you give them. They fall in love because of what they feel when they're around you. And the moment you learn how to create those two invisible bonds, you'll stop chasing, because he'll be the one holding on. Every man stays when he feels two invisible bonds. One is the bond of emotional safety, and the other is the bond of emotional fascination. These two don't compete. They complete each other. One makes him feel calm with you, the other makes him feel alive because of you. And when both coexist, a man's heart quietly decides, "This is where I belong." Let's start with the first one, the bond of emotional safety. Every man, no matter how confident he appears, walks through life carrying invisible armor. That armor is made of past rejections, disappointments, expectations, and fears of not being enough. He may laugh, joke, flirt, even commit, but deep down he's constantly scanning for emotional danger. He wants to know, will I be judged? Will I be controlled? Will I lose myself if I get too close? The moment he feels emotionally safe with you, that armor starts to come off, piece by piece. He starts to open up, not because you demand it, but because you make vulnerability feel like freedom, not weakness. He stops pretending. He starts relaxing. He doesn't need to perform or impress. He can just be. But emotional safety isn't built by constant reassurance. It's built by emotional stability. It's when your energy doesn't shift every time he disappoints you a little. When you don't turn cold when he's distant, or overgive when he returns. It's when your calmness becomes predictable. That predictability is not boring for a man. It's comforting. It tells his nervous system, I'm safe here. A woman who creates that space of emotional safety doesn't chase. She anchors. Her presence alone becomes grounding. He feels that she won't manipulate him, guilt trip him, or lose herself in him. That's when a man's defenses fall. Because for the first time, he's not afraid of losing control. Now the second bond, the bond of emotional fascination, is what keeps him emotionally invested. Safety makes him stay, but fascination makes him want to stay. This is where mystery, depth, and polarity live. Emotional fascination isn't about playing games. It's not about withholding love or creating artificial distance. It's about maintaining a sense of individuality, self-respect, and emotional independence. It's the quiet message that says, "You're important to me, but I don't need you to be complete." A man becomes fascinated by a woman who keeps evolving, who continues to surprise him not by pretending, but by living with purpose. She has her own rhythm, her own peace, her own world. She listens deeply, but doesn't lose herself in his emotions. She can care without absorbing his chaos, and that balance makes him emotionally curious. Because men fall in love with mystery, but they stay because of meaning. The moment he realizes that your presence adds emotional meaning to his life, that being near you gives him a sense of peace and purpose, he starts seeing you as rare. Not because you're perfect, but because you make him feel two things no one else does: comfort and inspiration. Here's what happens when both bonds exist at once. He feels calm in your presence, but challenged by your energy. He feels accepted as he is, but inspired to be more. He feels safe to be vulnerable, but still eager to impress you. That emotional paradox is what keeps a man deeply attached, not out of dependency, but out of admiration. This is why some relationships feel magnetic. It's not about physical attraction or constant communication. It's about the emotional pattern you create. When he feels those two invisible bonds, his brain releases chemicals like oxytocin and dopamine together. One tells him, "I'm safe." The other tells him, "I'm excited." Most relationships only have one of these signals, which is why they fade. But when both exist, love becomes addictive, in the healthiest way possible. Let's imagine two scenarios to make this clear. In the first one, a woman gives total emotional safety. She's always available, always gentle, always forgiving. He feels calm, but eventually bored. The relationship becomes predictable, and without fascination, he starts to drift away. In the second, another woman gives only fascination. She's magnetic, mysterious, emotionally intense. He feels drawn to her, but unsafe. His heart races, but his mind panics. He's excited, but unstable. Eventually, he pulls away to protect himself. Only when both bonds coexist does his mind say, "I'm home." He feels safe enough to stay and fascinated enough to grow. And that's when emotional attachment transforms into emotional loyalty. He stops thinking of leaving because, subconsciously, your presence regulates his emotional system. He doesn't know it consciously, but he starts to depend on the peace and excitement you bring. That's why trying to keep a man through logic never works. You can't convince him to stay, but you can make him feel what staying means. The woman who understands this becomes unforgettable, not because she tries harder, but because she connects deeper. Here's the secret. Emotional safety without fascination becomes friendship. Fascination without safety becomes chaos. But when the two are balanced, when your calm presence meets your independent spirit, you create an invisible gravitational pull he can't escape. He might not say it out loud, but in his mind he feels it. She's the one person I can be myself with and still want to become better for. That's the ultimate emotional equation that keeps a man anchored, devoted, and emotionally loyal, long after the initial spark fades. When those two invisible bonds are missing, everything starts to fall apart quietly. It doesn't happen overnight. There's no loud breakup, no dramatic argument, no final goodbye. It starts slowly, in silence. A man begins to emotionally detach long before he physically leaves. He still answers your texts, still laughs at your jokes, still says the right things, but something inside him shifts. His emotional connection starts to fade. You'll notice it not through what he says, but through what he stops saying. The curiosity disappears, the small gestures vanish. The spark in his eyes turns into a polite smile, and most women sense it. They feel the distance, and their instinct is to close the gap by giving more. They start proving their worth, over-communicating, apologizing for things that aren't their fault, accepting less just to keep the peace. But the more they give, the less he feels. Because emotional effort can't replace emotional bonds. Here's the cruel irony. The moment you start chasing him emotionally, his subconscious starts to feel unsafe. Not because of you, but because his instinct feels pressure. He senses that the connection is now based on need, not choice. And nothing makes a man pull away faster than the feeling of emotional pressure. When emotional safety is gone, he feels trapped. When fascination is gone, he feels bored. And when both are gone, his mind starts scanning for emotional oxygen, a place, a hobby, or sometimes another person that reignites what he lost. That's how emotional drift begins. You think he's distracted. You think he's busy. But in reality, his brain is starving for emotional stimulation. He's not searching for someone prettier or smarter. He's searching for the feelings he once had but no longer feels. That's why so many relationships end with confusion instead of closure. Because he can't explain it. He'll say things like, "I don't know what happened. I just don't feel it anymore." But the truth is, those invisible bonds were never truly formed, or they were slowly destroyed. Sometimes they break because the relationship became predictable. Everything felt safe but lifeless. There were no surprises, no emotional polarity, no spark. Other times, they break because the relationship became unstable. Too many emotional highs and lows, too much drama, too much insecurity. Either way, his emotional brain registers imbalance, and when a man feels imbalance, he protects himself by withdrawing. The consequence of this is deeper than just a breakup. It affects how he sees love itself. After losing those bonds, a man becomes hesitant to try again. He associates closeness with confusion, vulnerability with pain. He starts building thicker emotional walls, not realizing that those walls keep him from the very thing he's craving, genuine connection. And for the woman, the consequences are equally heavy. When she gives everything and still loses him, she starts believing she's the problem. She starts doubting her value. She replays every word, every choice, asking herself what she could have done differently. She begins to think that maybe she's too emotional, too giving, too intense, when in reality, she was simply giving in the wrong language. Because love, for a man, doesn't grow through constant effort. It grows through emotional rhythm, moments of closeness and space, peace and challenge, safety and mystery. When that rhythm dies, so does desire. That's why urgency matters. If you start noticing emotional distance, the answer is not to chase harder. It's to realign the energy, to bring back safety through calmness and fascination through self-focus. That combination is the antidote to emotional disconnection. You don't need to beg, overgive, or prove your love. You need to return to the version of yourself that first attracted him, the woman who had her own center, her own peace, her own quiet mystery. That's the version that formed the bond in the first place. Because men don't fall for perfection, they fall for presence. When he feels that you're emotionally centered, calm but alive, steady but vibrant, he feels magnetically pulled back. His subconscious starts to remember the feeling of balance, the comfort and excitement that made him stay before. If you don't understand these invisible bonds, you'll keep repeating the same emotional patterns. You'll attract men who leave, chase after those who withdraw, and wonder why love always slips away. But when you learn how these bonds work, you'll stop trying to make him stay, because his heart will do that work for you. Every woman who has ever been truly loved deeply by a man had these two invisible bonds in place, even if she didn't realize it. She made him feel emotionally safe enough to open up, and emotionally fascinated enough to never want to leave. That combination is irresistible, and that's why understanding these two invisible forces isn't just important, it's urgent. Because every moment you try to connect through logic, explanation, or fear, those bonds weaken. But every time you return to calmness, confidence, and inner peace, they strengthen. A man doesn't stay because you ask him to. He stays because he feels a kind of balance he can't explain, a peace he doesn't want to lose, a spark he can't find anywhere else. And once those two invisible bonds take root, safety and fascination, leaving doesn't even cross his mind. Because he's not staying out of duty, he's staying out of desire. At the end of the day, every man stays when he feels those two invisible bonds, emotional safety and emotional fascination. They are not visible, but they shape everything he does. They decide how close he gets, how loyal he becomes, and how deeply he feels. They are the invisible strings that hold his heart even when he's far away. And once you understand this, everything about love starts to make sense. You stop chasing mixed signals. Stop begging for clarity, stop fighting to be chosen. Because when a man feels both of those bonds, you never need to ask where you stand. His actions will answer for him. Emotional safety makes him feel calm around you. Emotional fascination makes him feel alive because of you. Together, they create balance, the kind of balance every man craves but doesn't know how to describe. Think about it. Every man has two sides inside him, the part that wants peace and the part that wants excitement. Most relationships fail because they feed only one side. They make him feel comfortable but uninspired, or excited but unstable. But the woman who can give both becomes unforgettable. She's the woman he respects, protects, and desires. The one who doesn't lose herself in love, because she knows love begins within her. The one who doesn't chase connection, because she creates it, through her energy, her calmness, her mystery, and her emotional strength. When you understand how to create emotional safety, you stop reacting. You no longer let his silence define your worth. You no longer try to fix what isn't yours to fix. You become grounded, calm, and confident, and that energy makes him feel safe. When you understand how to create emotional fascination, you stop over-explaining. You no longer try to impress him with words. You simply live with purpose, confidence, and curiosity, and that makes him want to stay close. These two invisible bonds are not techniques. They're states of being. You don't fake them. You become them. You embody emotional balance, and his mind can't resist that vibration. It's rare. It's magnetic. It's unforgettable. And here's the most beautiful part. Once you know how to create these bonds, you stop fearing loss. Because even if a man walks away, your value doesn't. You understand that the power was never in chasing love. It was in understanding it. So from this moment on, stop trying to make someone stay through words, effort, or fear. Start creating the energy that makes staying the most natural choice. When you become that combination of calm and mystery, of peace and passion, of warmth and self-respect, love flows toward you effortlessly. Every man stays when he feels emotionally safe with you and emotionally fascinated by you. That's the secret of lasting connection. Not manipulation, not strategy, but emotional truth. Because when you embody that truth, you'll never have to chase again. He'll feel it, he'll recognize it, and he'll stay. Not because he has to, but because his heart won't let him go.